MakingStarWars.net.
Everyone, I'm Jason Ward from MakingStarWars.net, and right here we got a manager from Hollywood Video, and we got a guy just looking off towards the twin sunsets of ancient Greece.
Jason, I have a question. When you used to go to Hollywood Video, they had those big bins of like candy for like $1, and they were filled with nothing but milk duds and Mike and Ike's. Did you dig for a Junior Mints like me?
No, if you looked deep down, you would see dead roaches in there at mine.
Ooh,
They, you know what?
nasty.
They're kind of minty. You know? That's all I'm saying.
Yeah, you know, I mean, it made
Not above
watching
Oh man,
Princess Mononoke or whatever I rented from there good.
it was worth it.
Yeah, so as Neil points out, Kenobi tonight, which is why we'll do a little bit of a shorter show today, probably. I don't plan on this one going super long because the fact that I'm going to be staying up all night to watch Kenobi and to give impressions after and all that kind of stuff. We have officially lost Rob. He will be sleeping, sleepy pie, and
Peacefully.
which is good. It's good. You need your beauty rest. But and then hey Chris, are you coming tonight or are you working?
Now I got a game.
That's
I got a
game.
game.
Okay. Game.
Yeah.
So I will be doing that tonight at I might do a pre-show. I haven't decided if I'm going to do a pre-show. I think it depends on how I feel, to be honest with you. But I will do after it comes out. I will do an impressions episode.
Nice.
And today we're going to talk about. And hello, Mr. Thomas. How are you, dude? Good to see you. I'm going to talk about Taika Waititi. He's back in the Star Wars news. He's back doing his Star Wars news antics again, trying to tell us how we should govern our Star Wars. Who does he think he is? He's not my boss. No, what he says, I think, is very reasonable. And I wanted to hear what you guys had to say. And this is from show programmer Chris. He sent it to me. I always appreciate that. So Taika Waititi talks his Star Wars movie. I would like to take something new and create some new characters. Exclusive by Molly Edwards. Taika Waititi talks his fresh approach to Star Wars. Taika Waititi's Star Wars movie is very much a mystery. There hasn't been a film from the galaxy far, far away since 2019's The Rise of Skywalker, which brought the main saga to a close, leaving the way clear for brand new stories. Next up is Waititi's movie, which according to him will indeed be something entirely fresh. Lucasfilm president Kathleen Kennedy recently talked to Total Film about the need to create a whole new saga. And while chatting to Waititi about his role in Disney's Pixar's Lightyear, we asked him if he agrees with Kennedy's words. And he says, look, I think for Star Wars universe to expand, it has to expand, he tells us. I don't think that I'm any use in the Star Wars universe making a film where everyone's like, oh, great. Well, that's the blueprints to the Millennium Falcon. Ah, that's Chewbacca's grandmother. That's all standalone. That's great. Though I would like to take something new and create some new characters and just expand the world. Otherwise, it feels like it's a very small story. And
Jason, I take personal umbrage with that because that was the entire plot to my sequel trilogy I gave to Bob Iger. It dealt with the blueprints to the Millennium Falcon and Wumpa Loompa, Limpy Loompa, Chewbacca's grandmother. So the great Jedi sage who trained Wumpa Loompa Lumpy, the Jedi Master after her, and gave us the Journal of the Wookiees, which became known as the Journal of the Wills. But,
it's called pretty much.
Yeah. That's how I did it at the meeting with JJ when we're at dinner, and they didn't think it was funny.
Rick McCollum's like, it has 15 Ys in it. It's way better than Kashyyyk.
Dude, I need a McCollum. Forgot. Damn. It's on my list.
Yeah.
Got more, Kevin.
I am happy to hear Taika saying that based off of the last 4 weeks, the last month or so, half a month, whatever it's been, that we've had with Kenobi, with people just saying what their internal fan fiction, like treating their fan fiction in their minds like it's canon. So and so wouldn't do this, or they can't do that, or that's not what that meant. It's like it kind of means whatever the fuck they say it means. To be honest with you, at the whether we like it or not, it's just kind of how it goes on that front. And but if Taika's bringing in new people, he doesn't really have to sit there and go, Pablo, how many daddies did Dash Rendar have? You know what I mean? It doesn't matter. It's like it's irrelevant. He could just say
as many as you want, love.
yeah. You could just be like, it's
Matt
whatever
Berry for Dash Rendar.
Right? Though I mean, and so like ultimately, when you just look at what people will go with Star Wars, look at the sequel trilogy. People will go with the new characters for the most part. They get all bent out of shape. Not my Luke Skywalker. That's not what my Luke would do. You know, and it's just like, why the fuck would you even want to deal with that as a creative?
Yeah.
You know, if you don't have to. Like if they hire Taika, hey Taika, we want you to make the Chewbacca movie, then he has to. But they didn't hire him to do that, so I don't see why he would. And I think ultimately it is better that we just go with new characters, because it's, I mean, for the most part, every time they introduce a new character, people, to me, prove that they are in love with the universe and not the characters.
Yeah.
Because every single time something's different, that's not the character. That's not it. That's not it. It's like every freaking time there's a sizable amount of the audience who just like is completely bummed out or says that's not what General Riken would say or something like that. And
see, I fall differently. I believe all the characters in Kenobi, it's the visual look of it that doesn't feel like Star Wars to me. A lot of it doesn't, you know, like the music, the editing, the tone, so like, I feel like for myself, I think the story, I'm not saying the story is easier. You were talking yesterday and a little bit today on Santa's show about how like people, God damn, I'm brain farting. About, damn it, I
Quinlan Voss.
I Captain Hook myself.
Tierra Sanube.
I think what I was. Let me just finish what I know. Forget what you were saying, because my brain obviously deleted that. But I think the story stuff is easier to. Oh, this is what it is. So over time, you were saying how like people watch Star Wars, you should just kind of go, well, that's kind of what they do. You know, I don't disagree with that. I think that makes sense on some level, but I also agree that what they do with music and visual effects and editing matters as well. And when they're not doing that, then I have to rely on the other stuff. And if the other stuff to me is the weaker parts of what they've done in the past, then it just doesn't gel. So they could have new characters that everyone loves, but if this looks like, if the movie, I don't know, let's say the movie looked crazy, right? Like Speed Racer or something, then people are going to say it's not Star Wars because of the universe it's in. That's why I've come to that decision, that like my personal belief that making Star Wars is far more difficult than I think people give it credit for. Even when you have all the tools.
And making Star Wars is
hard.
I'm not giving you that. I'm not doing it today. I promise myself once a week. No.
You gotta do it.
It's hard. You know, but I think the universe isn't enough too, because I think they completely nailed. God damn it! You know, you and Megan, all you people with your innuendos. I think they really nailed the tone of the Star Wars universe in the Solo film. But there was a lot of characters in that film that people didn't, the mass audiences didn't like glom onto for whatever reason. You know?
Yeah, you're right, Rob. We don't know what it's going to look like, feel like, sound like, but personally, I'm excited about something new, something fresh. It could be set.
Yeah, I love everything he's ever done.
Sorry?
Yeah, everything Taika's made, I've been a fan of. From you know, the one with his kid, that one, I forget the name of that one.
Yeah.
He was in that one. The Jojo Rabbit obviously is brilliant. You know,
Jar Jar Rabbit.
Like, Jar Jar Rabbit. That, what if that was his
right?
Jar Jar.
Yeah.
Jar Jar Reva is the name of his new movie. It's a team up with Jar Jar and Reva, right?
All right,
Can
I'll
we
watch it.
can we all
Yeah.
agree that eventually we will get back to the Skywalkers? Like they're not going away.
They'll always go back to it.
Yeah,
And
they'll always go back.
eventually.
Yeah,
Eventually.
not anytime soon, but we're gonna go back to the Skywalkers.
Yeah, well, it does have a thing too. I mean, there is the aspect of it where eventually, in terms of just being able to get like Mark Hamill out there filming, like I don't know if Mark Hamill could play live action Luke Skywalker today. I don't know.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? This isn't like a slight against him. We all
Yeah, he's
age.
old, yeah, he's
You know, I
old.
mean, he's like nearing retirement age here, pretty soon, and so I don't think that's going to be something that they can do. So like that was the thing about the sequel trilogy, is that was their opportunity to get those people in the movies while they're still actually
Capable.
capable and able to act in films. Oh, cool card, buddy. But basically,
Fucked it up. No, sorry.
but that's where, you know, you do have sequel trilogy characters who can be brought back in, for instance, and then you could kind of continue it from there. And I think that's what they're going to aim for, probably. But I would also imagine that like it'll be like we'll probably be able to look at it like it was a phase on, phase off. Like there's this whole phase where they just do this other stuff and then they go back to this to the Skywalkers, whole other stuff, and then they will. I think they'll always go back. I mean, that's just my opinion, man. Because obviously I haven't heard like anything, you know, they're doing another Skywalker saga or something like that. And there will always be somebody who says it, and then when it happens, like 5 years later, they'll see I scooped it.
Maybe it's Grogu in his mech suit is his next film, walking to Earth. You know, just like Kang from Kung Fu.
Maybe it's Grogu when he's 340, is going through his first divorce. And he's just like, man, life is hard, and I'm working this job, and it doesn't work for me, you know. He's like got a little bit of stubble, like a little bit of Grogu stubble going on.
Dirty Mo.
Yeah,
I want him to get the Danny Trejo. You know what I mean? Like he just grows the whole Trejo thing, and then they can.
We already got him. Wasn't he the Rancor trainer?
Yeah, but I want Grogu to have the Trejo.
Okay.
Yeah.
You know, gotcha. Like everyone goes through their bad mustache phase.
Yeah,
Maybe Grogu figures out that Pedro Pascal's, he's all right, you know, he's okay, but he's like Danny Trejo's. That's the guy to hang out with in the Star Wars galaxy, and then they just go on their own adventure.
Loves animals.
Where it's like Danny Trejo's just like, that's what he told you to do. Nah, don't do that. Do whatever you want. That's like the whole thing.
You're like, betray Michael, betray him.
Yeah, bring back Rey. I think though, I still think they hold back on Rey for a little bit. I think the longer they hold back on Rey, the more people will be excited when it happens. I'm not saying to do a full Hayden Christensen and give it, what was it, 18 years or something. I'm not saying that. But I think if they go on,
you know what would have been amazing, Jason, is if they had waited so long enough for Hayden to have gained a British accent like Madonna did. Right?
Yeah.
Like now he has it. That would be great.
And related British accent news. I was Bespin Bulletin on his show like a while ago. He was like, I'm hearing Lady Gaga is going to play Harley Quinn in the next Joker movie.
Wow.
He said that like a long time ago. And then yesterday it was everywhere. And I was like, Bespin got that. He's not even a Batman guy. He's a Star Wars guy. So I just wanted to acknowledge that little quality piece of scooping on Bespin Bulletin.
So he said that a while ago?
A while ago.
Wow.
I did not know that. Well, all right. Well, hey, what else do you know over there about Batman? Bespin, what are you holding out on us with the Batman news?
Yeah, how about you stop with the Batman bullshit and get back to the Star Wars news?
No, you bring it on. Although technically it's not really Batman news, it's Joker news.
It's Harley Quinn news.
Quite the same, not quite at the same level, Bespin, but we'll give it to you. You know,
okay.
Out of continuity, it's non-canon Joker.
But I will say, when it comes to this next Star Wars like phase or whatever, Like, we like Rey mostly. I think most people like Rey probably. And with that in mind, Taika might be giving you the next Rey. That's the thing, is whenever we aren't excited about new characters, like, we don't have Wade without new characters. Remember that. That's the important thing to remember here. No, but at one there was one day where Rey, Poe, Finn, like all of those characters that everybody would like to see back were new characters that were never thought of before. And it's ultimately the best thing for a healthy franchise. And Wade, if they continue, because I mean, for all we know, you know, it might be about Wade's son. They might be starting that. The woman who hung out with Wade might be carrying Wade's baby.
Jason.
Hey,
just want y'all know we're gonna be doing special editions exclusively for Disney Plus. And in Empire, before the Hoth battle, they're all gonna yell for Wade. They're gonna do it.
That is such a pet peeve of mine in movies, when they're like, for Ducky Momo, as they run in. I'm just like, who the fuck would ever do that? It's so stupid. And there's always some guy in the audience like, that was so epic. It's like, no, that's some Knights of the Round Table bullshit. That doesn't really happen.
I just kind of wish we knew when filming would begin, so we could like set out like the production times, post production, release date. We just don't know anything like that. Yeah, and it just pisses me off. I just wish we had some concrete dates so we can speculate. Maybe Taika is really good at guarding his language, but boy, does that language sound like he hasn't done shit yet, doesn't it? I mean, I'm just gonna say, put it out there. It sounds like he hasn't done shit yet.
Yeah, he hasn't done shit.
Filming will begin in 2025.
Mm-hmm.
Oh man,
I'm not saying I'm always right. I'm not even saying I'm right 50% of the time, right? But when I am right, I will let you know. And so
I know you will.
There was just no way that movie's coming out in 2023. The minute Paramount was like, "Here's our big Star Trek thing," doosh, you know, like.
You want to know what that interview read like to me? When a leader misspeaks but realizes a leader should not appear to ever be wrong, and then fucking doubled down on the wrong. Yeah. That's literally how it read to me.
Oh man.
And it did sound like she was making a mistake when she was saying that. I still think she was.
Yeah.
I think she was like, you know, I think she was getting a little bit confused with the timeline and the years and stuff like that, and the projections. I think it's a little bit easier when you have papers in front of you, but when you're talking off the cuff, I think it's easy to say the wrong thing, because it would be, I mean, it would be almost unlikely even if we knew they were filming this year.
Yeah.
Like, even if they were, that would still be a hard release date. I really don't. And what do we keep saying? I mean, it pretty much, I don't know. I mean, I guess there's nothing set in stone. There's their preference. Their preference has always been a May or December release. It doesn't mean that it has to be, though. It doesn't mean it must be. But we do know when we get into the holiday season of that year, we also have Avatar, right?
Yeah.
So
and you can complain all you want about James Cameron, but he gets his deals done and signed. You know, he gets them certified. That's the word I want to think about. Certified, bona fide. And he got that every other year fucking deal. I'm sure that there was some, you know, crosstalk between competing with Star Wars, you know, at the box office. He doesn't want to do it. And he's always preferred that after Titanic, he's like, I'm owning that after Christmas slot. I don't give a shit, you know? That's it.
Sure.
Yeah.
Griffin says it's probably because KK and Taika aren't on the same page. Seems to be a common problem. Hope I'm wrong, though. I don't think it's necessary. I think that if she was producing one movie, that perspective would probably make more sense. But in reality, there's probably about 10 different things in right now, and then we're asking her to know what Taika's fucking ridiculous schedule is at the same time, and where he's at creatively. And I think that basically things end up going in milestones. Basically, they're going to have a meeting about when the draft is going to be due, and then when the draft comes in, and then from there start working to know what's going to make it into a final draft, so that way they can start designing sets and start getting all of that stuff drafted. So I don't really think it's you make it. I think you make it sound worse than it is.
But he was never supposed to have his movie in 2023. That's the thing that gets me. Like, that was never the plan. So, like, the fact that, you know, he's not ready doesn't mean shit. The fact is, it was supposed to be Rogue Squadron, and that that didn't happen. So
then Jenkins got all janky. When it came
and
down
look,
to.
I hate to say it, folks. I saw Wonder Woman 1984, and I went in super excited. I think that trailer is amazing.
That movie's dog shit.
That movie is an embarrassment to the to the film that came before it. Horrible. You know, and to the talent of the crew involved. Like, it's embarrassing that is even considered a film on some. There are some shots in there that are sub TV. Yeah. Like, where she's rolling around on the ground with, like, mannequins. Like, I don't even know how to describe how that.
Last night, so YouTube played that clip for me. And I saw her on her stupid skates, and I was like, this looks really stupid right now. Like this whole, and like I said, that was made. I was told that was made for the last celebration. That didn't happen.
Oh yeah.
And but yeah, those stupid skates, man.
That sucks.
Aria, that makes no sense. She's talking about Michael Bay again. Baymax says, "Hey Dave, we already know George is appearing at CPAC. Will you also attend to explain Strong Wallman to the audience who aren't allowed in a room with other females unless their wives are present?" Hello me says, Aria, every person has the ability to get a ticket. You just buy it. Baymax says, Aria, you don't have to stand in the corner anymore. Oh, did somebody put Aria in the corner? Nobody puts Aria in the corner.
What? Don't do that.
Matt says, I think if they decide to make Ned B. Hajo's story, it would be perfect for Taika to direct it. Our flag means death, time bandits, and what we do in the shadows. Taika is contracted on 3 different TV shows. Yeah, it's true, Rick. What Rick is saying is true. Yeah, but
like on Shadows, I imagine it's mostly a producing thing. So, like, how much actual work are you doing, right?
Well, I know he's directing the Time Bandits pilot. That's in a few months.
Also
and no, but that's another probably 2 months.
Is he show running Time Bandits?
It's not clear.
That's a whole.
It's not clear.
Separate situation.
It's not. It's none of that is clear. All of it's murky. And it might be the kind of thing where he's the executive producer who's acting somewhat as a showrunner, but then just steps out and never returns. It's not really clear how that division is being set up right now. But yeah, I mean, the guy has a ton of things on his plate before he gets to Star Wars. But, you know, like the way I understand how the contracts usually work is if DC comes up and it's like, Taika, we want you to make, you know, our Aquaman and space movie, and he agrees to it, then that would happen after Star Wars. So that slate just needs to keep, you know, opening up basically. But
yeah, I'm sure I'm just saying, I'm sure that with the Thor press tour about to start, I'm sure we're going to get a few more Star Wars questions and hopefully some answers.
Yeah, same. Ryan says, I think the whole conversation about Kenobi is going to change when people see the Clone Wars era flashback. I predict they are just going to get mad it wasn't long enough.
You never satisfy people.
I think you're right.
Yeah.
Yep. I think so.
Yeah.
And then Griffin says, cancel a project after canceled project after canceled project. Hire the hot new trendy director, fire them lately. Not trying to be all doom and gloom, but I'm losing faith in that company. It's not exactly that though. Like, the Lego Star Wars guys didn't get fired. They get lumped into that. They left for $100 million. Good for them, I say. And then they fired the Lego guys because they wouldn't shoot coverage and kept experimenting when they were told to film the script that they agreed to make. That one makes sense. The what's his name wasn't fired. He stepped down because he felt like it was going to be better if Gilroy came aboard. And so you end up in a place where, I mean, Patty Jenkins had to go make what is she making? That DC movie? Something for DC. And then she was supposed to be stepping off of Cleopatra to do the Star Wars thing, but it doesn't sound like any of that's happening or makes any sense now. But I mean, you can't necessarily guess what's going to happen. And then Colin Trevorrow, I gotta say, that second draft will leak someday of his movie. It did not get better, and fired him because he wasn't delivering. I mean, I don't know if he was fired, but left the project because it wasn't delivering.
Yeah.
And like, you never know if somebody's going to deliver until they do. Mm-hmm.
To be fair, Jason, it has a better name than Rise of Skywalker.
Yeah, because he lifted it like it was fan fiction from John Williams.
Smart though.
No, I don't like the Rise of Sky. Actually, I don't actually. I like The Last Jedi as a title, but I don't even think it's a good Star Wars title. You know what I mean? Like, I think the Skywalker saga movies should have kept a bit of pulp to them. And which A New Hope is the weakest one to me, though. But that said,
Curse of the Cowlickian Space Monkey tomb.
Yeah,
you're
right.
Thinking? All right, much better.
But and then like Eric Den's pointing out, after Bespin Bulletin saw the Jurassic Park or Jurassic World movie. I don't know if he saw it early or if it came out there early, but okay, bye Penny, I love you. Have a good day. But basically, after he tried to explain the story to me, and I was like, I am not mad at you. You're explaining this very well, but fuck, that was tedious. I never want to see this movie in my life. This sounds like I felt like what's his name when he heard the Return of the Jedi pitch about Ewoks and said his head started to hurt. David Lynch. I had that exact reaction. I was just like, oh my god, this is fucking just tedious. And so I think Trevorrow as a fluke personally. I think he did I think Safety Not Guaranteed was fun. And I was like, wow, I want to watch his career with great interest. And then I was like, oh, actually, I've watched enough now. I'm good. I'm good watching that career. There is absolutely zero interest in what he has to bring to a franchise film for me, you know? And, but at the same time, like a lot of this comes out of that initial idea. This is what gets lost in memory. Is that the initial idea was we're going to get a bunch of 33-year-olds just like George Lucas to make the Star Wars stuff because they're the ones who dream at that level. They're the ones who know what the youth want. Like, that's where they were going. And then the corporation was like, oh, fuck no. Oh, fuck no, fuck no, fuck no. And then they quickly started bringing in the boomers. Hey.
Jason, they're the ones that grew up with The Crow. Everybody loves The Crow. We're going to put that in all the stars. That's where Kylo came from. His name was going to be Kylo Crow. And then we had to change it to Ren. Yeah, Ren Crow, and then just Ren. But
back in the good old days when if the movie wasn't working out, you could just get rid of the actor the old-fashioned way with the 6-shooter. But
I like that. We can do that?
Gina Carano trying to be cut now.
Beep bop boop.
Yeah. Yeah. No, but I don't really I don't necessarily disagree with where they were trying to go. The truth is they didn't have the balls to go there. At the end of the day, they didn't. Every single time they tried to go there, they pulled out on that. And that's where the vast majority of the fuck ups came. Like that was like the methodological error that led to everyone going, I don't trust Kathleen Kennedy, even though, I mean, she has delivered though. That's the other side of it. A shit ton of Star Wars has come out. And whether we like that Star Wars or not, probably has less to do with her than most people would imagine. I think Kathleen Kennedy isn't a creative president. She's not out there going, I have this idea for where we're going to take the Knights of Ren and we're going to do it. She's not that kind of person. She takes pitches and hires the people to deliver what they pitched. If they do it or not is a different story. And we do hope that she has an eye for talent, but it's like she's worked with Steven Spielberg, who's fucking amazing, obviously, especially in his youth. But then she also brings out people like M. Night, who start off amazing and then end up not so much. Like you never know what longevity is going to be. You never know when somebody's last project was their last good project either. You just kind of can't tell. That's the one takeaway I have from all of this. I mean, J.J. Abrams should have brought the best Star Wars ever if we just do industry math. The industry math should have said it was everybody was on, oh, they need to get someone not like George Lucas, that fucking asshole. They get someone like J.J. Abrams who understands the world we live in today. And then they got that. And they were like, fuck this. I hate this. I hate everything because I don't really like Star Wars.
The problem is they keep letting these guys write them too, or have significant input in the stories. And I mean, look, story with Star Wars has always been questionable, it's always been one hand in the, is it an homage to a goofy, vibrant, pulpy past, or is it just bad?
Yeah. Well,
and Harrison Ford would be the one to tell you, you know what I mean? People were on the set. They were like, this is, I don't know. I don't get this. And sometimes it really works. Sometimes it doesn't,
Well, it's like if whether you're putting, whether you're doing R2 and 3PO, doing a Laurel and Hardy act, to pit droids doing a Three Stooges act, to hiding Leia under a trench coat to escape in a ridiculous moment. People fucking just don't understand it sometimes. Sometimes they just don't get it. And sometimes they do.
I take umbrage that Leia under the coat was my idea. That's how I initially can't make the joke.
Yeah.
It's too much, man. But sneaking a kid out in your coat, just in the 80s, you had to be there,
Look at what this dummy has to say. I agree. Dummy Duel of the Fates was not a good script. However, Rise of the Skywalker is an embarrassingly bad script. I agree with Rise of Skywalker. They were writing it while they were filming it half the time. I mean, that was part of it. I honestly think that Terrio was brought on because he would sit there and write the revisions while JJ was trying things and doing different versions of things and being scared and then pretending to be brave, like he was just doing his Star Wars movie. This is the Star Wars movie for me, you guys, is what he said, or something like that. The reality of it was he was shitting his pants. Rightfully so, because that movie shit its pants. Neil says, funny how I don't hear anyone placing blame on Ewan for their Kenobi issues despite his producer credits. It's all KK's fault as usual. Fair enough. I will say I don't have any idea what level of producer or what kind of producer Ewan McGregor truly is. I'm going to bet it has more to do with the story conference times and on what happens with the character stuff. Is probably more of where his producing stuff comes into play rather than day-to-day, budgetary issues and stuff like that. But, and also we can do this, but if we do this, we can't do that. Then he probably decides if he thinks that's really important to him. That's probably what the producing credit comes out for him. But I would love to get better insight into that. If anybody is watching can tell me. I want to know. Inquiring minds want to know. Dummy wants to know. Neil wants to know. Crawling Chaos also wants to know. Executive producer is just a way to pay actors more. In this instance, that's not actually the case, though. That is the assumption about why nobody's bringing it up, and that does happen in this instance here. From what I understand, during the actual like story side of things was more of when that producer stuff was really mattering, who they were hiring to write and all that kind of jazz. But it's all very, very vague. And yeah, it is what it is though, because he's, the executive producer thing. I mean, which producer, like, how do we decide which producer we're going to be mad at? We may get mad at, how about we get mad at Michelle Rejuan? Let's just change it up so we can say a different name. You know what I mean?
I have put blame on her.
I don't
honestly, not for Kenobi, but for Rise of Skywalker.
Yeah.
Just because, they had Ryan, and then she came in and was like, no, we can get it all on time. JJ, get everything done. I'm just like, I get wanting to be the person who helps save the day, but you should also like, can we realistically make a Star Wars movie from scratch in 18 months? Do we really think that's true?
Yeah. I mean, I will give JJ the credit of maybe he was one of the only people who could do it, who could deliver it on time, just not being what it should have been at the end of the day. And like I always say, it's a double-edged sword. On one hand, I'm really mad that it sucks. On the other hand, I'm kind of glad because I think it means that they can't let that be the final chapter. They got to do more now, and I want more.
Absolutely.
That's what I'm all about.
If they learn, like, this is my one thing I've been saying, like, I don't care if Kenobi's good or bad to me, like, whatever. I just care that they learn. Now, they can't learn from Boba Fett because they shot these things in tandem, essentially, so that doesn't work. But if by, let's say, Mando Season 3, they double down on bacta tanks just to teach us all a lesson, like, why? Why would you do that? Like, what are you trying to prove there? So, so
the answer is no, Griffin, because I had already reviewed the script negatively by that point. So just to let you know. But yeah, I don't really think that. I feel like when something doesn't go wrong, everyone turns into a fucking Karen about Kathleen Kennedy. That's the manager they demand to see every single time. But I mean, when a production gets canceled, when things fall through, it's just not that simple.
All right, who's running Disney Animation? Can anyone tell me the name? No. So like
Kathy Griffin. No.
I
thought maybe it was Kathy Griffin, Kathy Kennedy.
I'd love to see that happen. That would be hilarious. It's just you happen to know this one person's name because Lucas picked her, and made a big deal out of it. But normally people don't even know. I'm sorry, who owns HBO right now? How many people know?
Yeah,
they don't know.
Yeah, I don't know.
So it's just who's second in command at Lucasfilm. They don't know.
Yeah, probably
who's the
Michelle
president
Rejuan.
of ILM? Who's the president of Skywalker Sound? They don't know.
Mm-hmm.
That's just one of those things that just whatever.
Well, that's when you hear people faking their stuff on YouTube, like those people that like do astral projection to spy on Kathleen Kennedy and shit. That they talk about stuff and like they don't know who any of the other people are. They don't even know, like they're like, I'm at Kathy. I am manifesting myself into Kathy's office, and now what's his name? Who does the Mandalorian is in there now. I see this, and it's like, that's not even where the offices are. That's not even how the offices work, you dummy. But right. Those people really eat it up. They really do. And
what I want to know, Jason, is who was driving the car that tried to run you down? Like,
it was
the bag man.
I want to know that.
Yeah, no, I know who it was. That was just the parking structure employee. Yeah, but he got paid off straight cash.
That's Disney shell.
That's
Truth shell.
Josh Gill Music says it's literally KK's job to make the big difficult decisions that not everyone is going to like. People don't credit her when things go right, but when they go wrong, suddenly KK is the worst. It's madness. Yeah, that's exactly true. And when things do go right, they go, oh, it's because Jon Favreau produced it. Like they just like sit here and just decide that they're going to put, you know what I mean, place value wherever they decided for their comment or their argument.
Omitting his directing and producing of Iron Man 2.
Yeah.
How many Marvel films did he get a producer's title simply because of his position there? It had nothing to do with that, you know. But it's just and ones that weren't people didn't like. They're on there.
Yeah.
You know, like it's just. What about the time he directed a movie called Cowboys and Aliens? Like, I don't know. You know.
Well, what I would say about her is that she does tend to bring in interesting people. Like Colin Trevorrow is not somebody that I think ended up being good. I think the Jurassic World movies are complete dog shit.
Oh, yeah.
And I think that if you can't deliver Jurassic World movies, if you can't innovate with dinosaurs and the ability to literally dream whatever you want, and that's what you do, I don't think you can handle Star Wars. I mean, that is my opinion on that one. I just don't think you can. I don't think
so
that
far as
most
person
people can. It's not a slight.
Who can write and direct, Ryan's proven to be the best.
Mm-hmm.
Like, and you know I'm 50-50 on that film, but the 50% that I love is so good that I'm like, yeah, he needs another shot.
Yeah.
This is ridiculous. You know, this is ridiculous that we're even like, it's even a fucking, it's visually stunning in half of, and over half the parts. That it's extremely well acted across the board. There's some bad whatever moments. I'm like, you didn't need to keep this take or that take, but that is so minute, you know, and like some writing stuff, whatever, you learn from it. But none of it, the stuff that I didn't like, I don't think falls out of anything George Lucas wouldn't have done. It's just that I feel like we've put one foot back into prequel territory, you know, so just take it out, like, or improve it. And that guy, like, man, he can. There was no problems on that movie, right? Like we didn't hear, oh, we don't know, blah, 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 blah. Couldn't do it.
The only problems that I ever heard about from that movie were between Oscar Isaac and Carrie Fisher, because Carrie Fisher wasn't being professional because she parts hard, and rightfully so.
Ooh, so that's the one that kills me. Like when people are like, I don't want him getting a trilogy. I'm like, you think if JJ had directed episode 8, this would have been better, all 3 of them? You know, mm-hmm. You really think that? Okay. You know, the thing about The Force Awakens that drives me nuts every time I see it is just how like Phasma goes along with telling him, we'll throw you in the trash compactor. And then she's like, that character ain't telling him jack shit. That character's committing seppuku before she admits anything to, you know, a traitor, let alone, you know, Han Solo. So it's just weird shit like that where you go, well, you go with it. And like, I know. Let's try to do less of it, please.
Yeah. Well, that's the thing. Whenever it's funny, because whenever Star Wars does anything comical, it just fucking pisses somebody off. They're just like, no matter what, like the Phasma shit does not bother me one bit. In fact, I actually rather like the moment. Just felt like it could have maybe have used like a follow-up shot. Like we could have saw her going. I don't know. Like there just should have been something more.
She could have not told them shit, and they could have thrown her in. That would have been fine. It's just she's not giving up info. That character we saw at the beginning of the film ain't giving up that info. All the other stuff, I'm like, it's fine. Like I don't know, man. Like it's just weird. But yeah, you're right. With humor in Star Wars, since 1983, I've been hearing conflicting arguments over what is funny and isn't funny in a Star Wars film. You know?
Yeah. Like when Chewbacca
giant.
Well, you know, like when the little mouse droid is on the Death Star and it comes up to Chewbacca and he growls at it and it runs away. That was added in 82. That wasn't originally there. And so I remember there being people telling me that as a small kid. That wasn't there. They added that. And I'm like,
meanwhile, when Chewbacca does the Tarzan yell, you know,
I think it's funny. Yeah, it's funny. Yeah, it is.
To Chewbacca.
Yeah.
I don't care what you smell. Get in there.
Yeah. Yeah. I like those stupid things and Wilhelm screams and all that jazz. Like I'm all about it. I'm for it. But I mean, I do. I'll let everybody say I'm stupid right now. I like when Vader says no. Excuse me. I like the whole. Mm-hmm. Was that Chewbacca saying no? But Yeah, but let me finish. Let me finish here.
Sorry.
I like it. I think it completely works for me. But where it was misplaced was thinking that the general audience was going to get it. Is that it was such a risk to do one of the important moments and do a callback to something like that in that moment when you should have fucking damn well know that a large part of the audience wasn't going to understand it. They weren't gonna get where you're going with that. And George was just like, either I just don't care, or just thought maybe they'll get it. You know what I mean? But that right there, it hurt the emotional connection of the movie for a lot of people who don't get it. So
I think if that wasn't there, that movie review wise goes up 10 points.
That I agree.
The ending would have like, it's not like, yeah, there's parts of that fight that are goofy, but when he's like leaving him to die and he's yelling I hate you and shit, and the music, and I'm like, that works incredibly well, you know?
Mm-hmm.
And then to take it all away, you know, like you're getting a little bit of hope and the kids and then I can't remember which order it happens in the edit, folks. We just watch it. I can't remember exactly what order that went into. It's just there because it's that editing is so back and forth, but it just throws you right out of the whole fucking thing, man. Like, I think if it had just been totally silent, he gets built, and the next time we see him is that shot of the bridge where he's walking out, looking at the Death Star. You cut that no out, that's it. And then you go, well, what about Padme? What about, you could have dealt with that shit later, you know, in a book or something. Didn't have to. What about Padme? Like,
my thing, Simon, is like Simon says they had the opportunity to tell a great story after TFA. A stormtrooper to Jedi would have been different and new, but TFA, it was the one that said he's not the Jedi. Remember, the lightsaber does not belong in his hands. In fact, they even cut stuff, even confirming that more, where Maz Kanata gives the lightsaber to Leia and says, and then she's like, you know, what do you want me to do with this? And she's like, well, it needs to get into her hands. And then they give it to Finn, knowing it will end up in Rey's hands. Like, that was always the story. So after TFA closed that story down. But also the idea, I'm not against Finn himself becoming a Jedi. I actually like that. I'm fine with that. It's fun. Let's do it. Anybody could be a Jedi. Any man, you know, the anybody kind of person can be whatever in Star Wars. I'm all about that. But that movie didn't set it up for me. It actually took it away. Took it off the table, and Ryan honored it. That's the funny part. And then on top of that, though, just I'm a Jedi and I used to be a stormtrooper. What is inherently interesting about that concept? Because I just don't think that there really is anything
to be like, an agent of Darth Vader whose grandkid is invoking Darth Vader, and then to turn around and rebel against that and fight. That's the turn.
Mm-hmm.
Like,
yeah, that's
a visual.
Doesn't need to be a stormtrooper for that to be interesting.
Cool, Jason. Okay, fine, it's cool. And I was hoping that with Rey with Luke, we would have seen Finn with Maz Kanata in that second film.
Because what I'm trying to say is, kind of like once he's a Jedi, what does it matter? Once he's a Jedi, that what he used to be becomes kind of irrelevant to who he is as a Jedi at that point.
All right. I see what you're saying, but then that's where I said you could have had two philosophies of what the Jedi are. One holding to the old concept of the Order and the academies and all that stuff, and one holding to the Qui-Gon Jinn way of walking the cosmos, listening to the will of the Force.
Mm-hmm.
And you could have had those two philosophies working at the same time. Like this is what a writer's room is for. You know, like this is where like nothing's there, and so you can just say your personal preferences, it wouldn't have mattered, but it's far more interesting than just a guy who's consistently running and then decides not to run, but then decides to run, then decides not to run, then decides for a minute not to run.
No, that's not how it goes. But it does go. The problem with that thing was Finn and Poe. They were like twin babies in the womb, and there weren't enough nutrients to make them both survive as good characters. You know what I mean? Finn took too much from Poe and Poe took too much from like Finn, because if at the end of the day he had been a conformist in the First Order who then rebelled and then became a rebel general, like that's an interesting change, and that's like the same thing functionally. But you end up, and then but once they took in 9, once they took Poe out of being the pilot, then you didn't really need Finn. That was the weird thing about it. And then they didn't really know what to do with him in that story. They're like, oh, he's a Jedi again, you guys. That's what we did something with him. And it's just not doing something with him. That's just giving him some like an attribute. And yeah, anyways, that movie sucks. Neil says, I respect Rise as a filmmaker. I dislike The Last Jedi because it felt tonally disruptive following TFA and because it failed to bring me joy. Even though I don't like it, I'd be open to a new Star Wars project from him. Yeah, I think if he is in charge of his own stuff, like it's very weird that Rian Johnson made a sequel to somebody else's stuff in a way. Like that doesn't feel like Rian Johnson, just in general. You know, like if he made Glass Onion and somebody else had done Knives Out, like that's not how this guy makes movies.
Yeah.
You know, he should have been in charge of the whole thing, or
the whole
his own
thing.
Yeah. The whole thing or his own thing.
I have some friends who are of our age who hate the film, but agree that if he had been given the whole thing from the beginning, most of these problems go away for them. They like his body of his work. Like, so it's just weird picking up from JJ didn't know to go where JJ wanted. JJ had no idea what he was going to do beyond what he did. And what he did, I strongly disagree that he even knew what he was doing when he did it. Like, it's so, he doesn't hold to a lot of convictions in his own films, and not just The Force Awakens or Rise of Skywalker, but Star Trek Into Darkness is a film that doesn't know if that's going to be Khan or if it's going to be Gary Mitchell. Like, it just doesn't know. And you can, when you watch the film and you think about Gary Mitchell, if you know that storyline, you can see it, you know, like, and it's just, this is a guy who just doesn't know what he can't commit to things. He got paid $500 million and couldn't figure out how to make a Superman movie, anything right now. You know what I mean? Right now, can't make not one thing made. So
yeah. Super 8's third act. Jason Pemberfoot,
Super 8's third act.
So I think they missed a prime opportunity to have the Force change into something that is more allowing spiritually, an evolution of belief, if you will. And to go on what Jason's saying and what you were saying, I hope we have those kinds of ideas or concepts if they do continue Poe and Rey. I'm sorry, Finn and Rey.
Yeah, Finn and Rey.
You know, because if those characters are just like, wow, whatever Luke did is the right thing to do, let's go and follow in Luke's footsteps, and they high five, and then there's no conversation, then we run back into the same organizational problem where you have two characters that literally could just be one character. Yep. You know, and so they, unless they have something to talk about, something to disagree about, and it would ultimately end up being, I mean, it would be kind of cool if the galaxy was so big that you did have multiple Jedi orders or sects or whatever, you know, not SEX, SECTS of the Jedi Order.
See, Jason, get you every time on this show. You say something's hard.
There we go. It's on the brain. But according to Google, George wanted to cut Chewie in the mouse droid scene, but Marcia kept it in. It was not there on the initial release. It was added back in the 82 re-release.
Yeah, this is all true. I didn't want any of it, you know. No, and I wanted the mouse droid to actually have a tail. She wouldn't let me do it. She wouldn't let me do it. It's ridiculous.
Yeah, there was he originally wanted Grand Moff Tarkin to stand upon two mouse droids, and that was how he would walk around. Well, and that's how I got Wat Tambor.
His original name was Grand Mouse Tarkin, but we thought Disney wouldn't approve, and ironically, I sold it to Disney. Weird.
Yeah, Chosen One says Last Jedi is a good film. It's a valid version of Star Wars. Maybe not my cup of tea, but mythology has different versions. And
I'll say this: even my issues with the film aside, if you only see Episode 8, you pretty much got a complete sequel trilogy thing, like in of itself. If you had no if you've never seen episode 7, right? You only saw 8, you got a whole complete film.
Mm-hmm.
You know?
Yeah.
And then if you don't know who those characters were in the first one, then you can't compare and contrast, and you can take the film as it is, and it works extremely well. Yeah.
Yep. Star Wars used to be called, now it's just commercial kid stuff. You know, in a weird way, I disagree with that commercial kid stuff part. It is commercial kid stuff. You're not wrong, but it's not just, is what I would say. And the Star Wars used to be called. I think that in a weird way, what you hit on is something I find interesting, and that's that people have a very personal connection to Star Wars that they think makes it theirs in certain ways, and that they know it intimately as only they can. And once something comes in and it's different, you know, it's like finding out your significant other, you know, had this whole other life or something.
This was cult. This right here. Sorry, am I going Jedi? Well, Jedi's when they sold out, Rob. Oh, okay. Hold on. I got you covered, dog.
Oh.
You know, like it's just so
Star Wars
ridiculous.
Sold out from day one.
Hold on. Let's go back to 80. Look at the pick and save. Look at the pick and save. Like these are actual photos, folks. You know, like, bro, Toys paid for Star Wars. That's it. Toys built the whole empire. Commercial kids. Lucas was trying to make a commercial family film because they all fucking sucked in the 70s. If you go on to Disney Plus and you look up the Apple Dumpling Gang and every other fucking stupid Disney film they were making in the 70s to appeal to families, compared to films that are coming out at the time, like, I don't know, Chinatown, and you know what I mean, and The Godfather, shit like that, like, it's just not. He was trying to make a commercial film. The commercial kid. The problem is when the teddy bears came in. Right? Like, that's where the split between the fan base was like, this is too kiddie for me. It's not, you know, and other people are like, but my kid loves it, or my little brother loves it. So
Star Wars fans say the most amazing thing about Star Wars is that anything can happen, yet they don't want anything to happen. I mean, that's just the fucking truth. They just want it to be like they just want it to be like whatever their random ideas. But I actually really do embrace it being ridiculous. I like it when it goes ridiculous, but it has to be measured, you know.
The space lizard scene shouldn't work, Jason.
Exactly.
You understand what I'm saying?
You're never gonna let that go, are you?
I love it, but I love it because I'm like, that is 70s. That's so 70s Lucas. Like, that is like, I mean, that's right there, man. Like, and it works, but it does work. And the scene I like in Kenobi is when he sees Anakin just standing out there, like, as that vision of him standing out there. Shit like that to me works way better than a visual effect of a force or some weird flashback memory or something. Like, I think those things work incredibly well.
Will Morgan, and Aria is pointing out that there's a video out called Rise of Skywalker, Why It Sucks. I've heard it's pretty funny, but I haven't seen it. I think it was Bespin was telling me about, he did an Attack of the Clones. The same person did an Attack of the Clones review. And in that one, they just like break down the ridiculousness of the storyline, of how you follow it. And so I want to check it out, but I haven't seen it yet. Will Morgan says, I've been wanting to watch the sequels and raising all my heroes to level 41 on Battlefront 2. My opinion of the movies is undergoing a change removed from the hype. Yeah, it is. I think it is important to look at things after some time goes by and be like, does this still work for me? Was it hype? And then how do things work when they're all sitting together? Because that's the other important part. That's why, like, Last Jedi was really highly rated for me in terms of its importance to Star Wars. And I feel like what kind of came after diminished that for me, though. It doesn't mean that the work was bad. It doesn't take away from it. The work was still, I think, good, but it does, like, well, that's what it amounts to. It's kind of where
it has to have somewhere to go with the new series or new something to continue it. It's when it falls on 9 to like be the thing. There's no resolution to that. Like, it just hangs out there. Like, great. Okay.
Yeah.
Somehow he died too. Like,
Roller Boots Tarkin is my new headcanon.
I like that. Peter Cushing would appreciate that too.
Jason says, I never hate any of the Star Wars. I will say the sequels have less rewatch value for me personally, but as an old fucker, I'm biased to the OT and the prequel trilogy. And that makes sense. I mean, they're, those movies like completely, you kind of grow up with them. And those ones, it's kind of hard to let new things into the Pemberfoot canon of things that you go back to a lot. And that's kind of like where I'm at with Star Wars at times, with there just being so much now. There's like so much that I could like watch. Yeah. It is like when I do want to watch Star Wars, sometimes I actually don't watch Star Wars right now because I'm like, there's so much, I just don't even know where to pick. I don't know what to pick. I'm just like, ugh. But Jai says I'm wrong. Chewie and the Mouse Robot, it was there since the original. This is 77. I saw it. Check out the original LP, Mouse Robot and Blasting Off. Okay. If Jai says fair so, enough. I will go with it.
I was still sperm, so I couldn't tell you.
Nice.
We've all go through a metamorphosis in life, right, guys?
Yeah. So I wasn't out for it, so I can't say.
I don't think we share in this. Other than the test tube babies, we even still use that term. It's so old.
Yeah, so you're a test tube baby.
We were all sperm once. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
That was more egg, personally.
It's weird. Egg. It's weird. I'll think about that.
Yeah, but I think that so to take it back to like the Taika thing to some extent, I do think that if he makes new characters, it may be something that launches a whole franchise of films. Yeah. Obviously we already have that. Sounds dumb. A whole of storytelling, a whole new lineage of storytelling that we follow through several films, and that ends up giving us a whole bunch of new stuff. That's the hope or the goal. I don't know if it will. That's a lot of pressure. I don't know how you just decide the story I write is going to be so big it does that. Like that's kind of the problem that have with Star Wars.
I had hoped the Mando would have taken that role on a level, because then it could be like, hey, fans all agreed, like this is the direction to go. So we're gonna at least try this and taking that.
I still hope we get a Mando movie when it's all said and done, but I don't know. That's how I want it to end. A big movie on screen at the cinemas.
I think like a valid question though, is the Mando concept itself strong enough to actually do that? Like are they after doing 3 seasons of the show, like where they're at with it and stuff, and like the Book of Boba Fett and stuff, like do they have it in them, or have they kind of cashed out with their ideas of trajectory?
See, that's the thing though, based on what you've told so far about the 3rd season, that sounds like that's what the movie should be. Mm-hmm. Right? Maybe even like a 2-film thing, yeah, possibly, but yeah, I don't know, like in terms of new I'm with you. I don't know.
Yeah,
I think they're missing the boat on this one,
yeah, but I mean, Mando connected, so that obviously gives it like a little bit of a boost, and people would have accepted it and went with it. But at the same time, I guess there is something maybe to be said for not fucking with what's working. Yep. So if it's working and they're gonna make that 3rd season and it works, but I suspect by Mando 3rd season we might start. I hope I'm wrong, but I'm curious to see if we start to see people turn on it now that it's been out for a few years, and now that everybody feels that they have ownership over this private personal relationship with these made up characters. If this is going to be the time when Mando starts to really struggle, even if it's good, or even if it's the same quality as the first 2 seasons.
Some Grogu fatigue, possibly.
I think with Grogu, they've said he's going to like have his first words. We already saw him say "yep" in that little leaked celebration footage, and he's going to get the mech. So I think they have their stuff to keep him fresh. But we'll see though. We'll see. I'm not against the Mandalorian. I like it. I just to me everything about it is the basic fun of Star Wars, but it oftentimes, and it has a good heart to it. And I'm hoping that when it starts to add the complexities of where it's going, of like the restoration of Mandalore, I hope that's where it feels smart, and I feel like there's depth to it.
Yeah.
Other than just a bunch of like Klingon style posturing, you know what I mean? For honor, for Mandalore, and shit like that, where I'm just like, I just, my eyes glaze over when we go into those places. It can be difficult to take it too seriously. And I'm somebody who's okay with the mouse droids.
All you need is people to make meaningful choices and to have meaningful consequences.
Yeah.
And all will work out.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I agree. I agree with that. Well, I think we're going to call this one a show. We've gone an hour today, and I'm going to come back tonight. So I don't want to burn myself out for tonight and then be all bummed out, even if the episode's good. But I'll be tonight. If you guys are going to stay up, come back and hang out with me after the show. And I might do a pre-show. You're going to see. Still thinking about it. But we will be back tomorrow at 11 a.m. Pacific Standard Time. We'll actually review the episode. And tonight I'll give my impressions. Tomorrow I'll give my review. Rob will give his review. And Chris, if you're free tomorrow, you're always welcome to come back too. And I think Max will be on with me tonight, I think. So I think it'll be me and Max, I think is the plan. So it'll be a good time. But I hope everybody, and if I don't see you guys until tomorrow, I hope you guys enjoy the Kenobi episode tonight, and it's good and it works for you. I think these last two episodes are going to probably be more interesting and the better stuff that we're getting from it. But at the same time, I never know what's going to make you guys happy. I can't tell. All I know is making Star Wars is hard.
The one that got me was how excited you were about the Grogu in the mech suit. And I got super fucking excited. Yeah. Jason and I were like, this is going to be so amazing. I spent all day thinking about it. And then we do the show.
The comments,
no one cared.
On it.
Everyone was like,
was it like when R2 falls over?
Yeah. Yeah. I was like, okay, you guys win.
No, yeah.
All right.
But
in a proper like 90s styled universe, that Grogu and Mexu would already be a Nintendo 64 game. Like Nintendo, they would have been on it early,
Oh, I want it in Fortnite already. I'm ready for it. Like in Fortnite, they have little kitties and stuff that are in like these little mech suits, and that's what I want. But all right, thanks for hanging out with me today, guys, and I'll see you guys tomorrow.
Like the video.
Like the video, subscribe to the channel, become a channel member if you want to support the channel. That helps. It's super appreciated. And we'll see you guys tomorrow. Bye.
It's the end of the show.
Come on, let's go.
Hey! It's the end of the show.
Come on, let's go.
Hey! It's the end of the show.
Come on, let's go. Hey!
You know you should go.
Come on, let's go.
It's not about spaceships.